Recently, a regional champion reached out to me. For those of you who don't know, regionals are pretty big Pokemon events that are pretty hard to win. And if you do win, you get an automatic qualification for the World Championships and $6,000. So, you'd think he'd be set for the rest of his Pokemon career. In terms of skills, no. Realistically, Pokemon is a game of ups and downs. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Oliver decided to take a big action step in his improvement journey and reach out to me for coaching. Now, this might not sound hard, but there is a real aspect of swallowing your pride and accepting help when needed. So I just wanted to highlight the important action step he took to start his journey. Good job. Anyways, he had issues with team preview, which is one of the foundational skills necessary to play Pokemon. And planning is something I happen to be quite good at. In this video, I will teach a framework to methodically approach team preview. Now, the video you are about to watch is in the style of live coaching, not a lecture. The framework will be mentioned and taught, but I adjust it all to Oliver's specific needs as I do with all of my coaching clients. Now's a great time to mention that I actually do coaching, so if you want to be in one of these videos or just want to get better at Pokemon, click the link tree in the description. I'm looking to fill both private and content coaching slots. Let's begin. What's up, guys? I am joined here today with Oliver, who is a previous regional champion, aka Mario on YouTube. It's pronounced Mario, just like the guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Mario.
didn't want to
On
get
YouTube.
copyrighted, you know.
Right, of course, yeah. But he is a former regional champion. Literally, well, it was Perth regionals, right?
Yeah, it was Perth just a little bit ago.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, this is his channel right here. If you see Mario, go ahead and give him a subscribe in the description. We'll link it there. But you came to me today because you mentioned something about team preview. You're kind of struggling with that. So you mind kind of telling me why you reached out, how you kind of got here today?
Yeah, so I saw your last YouTube video, and there was a little comment about you being cracked at team preview. I'm like, man, that's the one thing I just suck at, because I always find myself leading really poorly into my opponent, and then just game one always losing because I'm already on the back foot. But game 2 and 3 I'm not so bad because I can adjust my leads and figure it out from there. But yeah, I just need a bit of help getting better at team preview.
Gotcha. Okay, so it was mostly team preview. And we kind of talked a little bit right before I clicked the record button. We were briefly talking about it. So I went ahead and designed just a brief kind of team preview framework that for any of you guys in the audience, what you can do actually is kind of just stick around with this and watch this framework kind of unfold, and then you can kind of plug and play what I'm about to teach right here to Oliver in your own games. So that's the value statement I'm trying to communicate up front. So if you guys stick around, that's what you guys can get from that. But before we go into that, I know you recently wanted me to look at one of your stream sets. I believe it was for an exhibition match, I believe.
It was we recently, Oceana, we've been trying to get our stream back, and we had a really great idea of actually put in some exhibition matches so our commentators can practice commentating for when we do put stream on for Australian regionals. So yeah, that'll be on YouTube. We'll probably send the link actually, just so other people can watch
Yeah, great
them
idea.
in
I'll
their
link
free
that in the
time.
description.
Matches.
My
Yeah.
question for you is, do you want me to review over that in the call right now? Because technically for
Yeah,
me,
sure.
it would be kind
Honestly.
of cool. It's just to kind of see where you're at right now, so I can see the
Yeah,
bad parts
sick.
of it and the good parts, bring out the good, and then point at the bad. Then we can
Yeah,
build a
I'll be
foundation after
explaining my
that.
thought process and stuff for
Perfect.
sure. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you sent it to me on Twitter, if I'm correct. I'm gonna try to find this right now.
I think it was on the sheet.
That's where it was. You're right.
Yeah, I sent you the link.
Thank you. Yeah, I found
It was
it.
a pretty crazy set. If you just want to quickly skim over it, it was funny as.
All right, copy, and it is now about to be on the screen. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen so you can see as well. One sec. All right, so what was the time? It was 2 hours and
2:27 or something.
2:27. That was it.
It's around there. If you want to look at the teams first,
Yeah,
it'd
good
probably be
idea.
good to just go over it and look at what you lead and what your thought process is. Just looking at them.
So this is you, and you have
Yeah, that's me.
Terapagos, Koraidon, Incin, Fluttermane, Raging Bolt.
It says quick text, exit full screen on your thing.
Oh, you can't see full screen.
Oh no, that's cool. No, okay, it works now. Cool.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I want to try. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger for the audience. Mini player theater mode. There we go. Okay.
That works.
So yeah. So this is your team. You have Terapagos, Incin, Koraidon, Fluttermane, Raging Bolt, and Ogerpon. You want to tell me a bit about like how you kind of built this team and like the overall process that went in your head?
Yeah. So, one of my Japanese mates was telling me about Karate Terapagos, and it's a little bit of a weird core in the way that it looks like it has a bit of an anti-synergy. Because when you Terra Terapagos, it actually turns off the sun for Koraidon. And initially, I thought that'd be pretty bad, so I kind of wrote it off as a bad core. But when I came into testing, I realized that Terapagos and Koraidon can function separately in a way that each of them can cover each other's bad matchups. And at the same time, in some matchups, when you do bring them, they can be a really powerful core, as Koraidon can force a lot of terrors on many Pokemon like quite easily, while Terrapagos can catch those by terroring in the late game, or even setting up early game and then sweeping in the back with Koraidon. So yeah, it's quite a good team, I want to say.
That's really
I
cool.
saw that Carson
Um,
Confer, I think it was, he used Scale Shot in the last regional to win. Oh no, not
yeah,
to win, come
second,
second. I
second.
think it was.
Yep.
So I saw that, and I'm like, yeah, that would be good.
No, I
Yeah.
was gonna say I really like the scale shot on this set because the biggest thing about Koraidon, now albeit you might want to try out Life Orb. Life Orb could be kind of sick because it's just like that really helps with the whole
Don't
mentality,
risk.
right? Of like forcing a Terra because like they are really forced Terra if you're Life Orb, like
True,
you're gonna get a
true.
KO. But anyways, what I really like about the scale shot on this is it's not a Terra Hog anymore because the biggest reason why my counter synergy between Koraidon and Terrapagos was I was really hesitant because I assumed that Tropico's always wants Terra. I know Koraidon loves to Terra because they typically go Flame Charge and Flare Blitz, and you want to get
Mm.
that stab Flare Blitz. But I was gonna say with the Scale Shot, you have a consistent stab option that's not just a fighting type. There's no immunity besides Fairy. There's it's like I don't think there is a Fairy slash goat way. Is there like okay, the Mimikyu technically, which is immune to both those, but you have Flare Blitz you can smack it with. So it's like you have coverage. Point is, I like that because it's like you're not reliant on Terra. You actually have a very strong stab move in the Scale Shots. That's kind of cool.
Mm.
And the other thing I like about this build, which I kind of want to highlight to everyone in chat, you were able to find a way to add Fluttermane on Trapagos. Now, I've theorized this for a while, and I think Fluttermane Trapagos is probably the best way to build Trapagos because if you
It's
remember back in
broken.
the day, Fluttermane was literally the number one used Pokemon. Yeah, back in the olden days in 2023. But no, um, it was good. It was dang good. It was like one of the best Pokemon in the game, and it's still good. It won Internats obviously in Reg G. But it's really tough to fit on teams, and I theorized that Fluttermane plus Trapagos makes a lot of sense in the builder because Fluttermane is immune to fighting, which is Trapagos' only weakness, and you can force them to Terra using Moonblast as a stab option. Well, you also have speed control. It's like you have Ghost to hit Ghosts, whereas Ghost immune to the normal type Terra Starstorm, and then you have Fairy to beat fighting. So it's like really good offensive and defensive synergy between those two. So I love that Koraidon is kind of the connecting piece. That's just like, oh, that actually makes sense.
Mm.
Koraidon connects them both together. It's like you can actually finally bring these both and have two separate modes. So that's a cool team. I wanted to
Yeah.
highlight that for everyone in chat who maybe didn't fully know. Is there anything else about the team building process? Like, how'd you end up with the
Yeah.
Cornerstone and
I mean,
Instant and Raging Bolt?
initially, it was a call back from Japan Nationals. I think it was 2023 first, like no, 2024. Yeah, 2024 Japan Nationals. Back then they were using like Fluttermane, Terrapagos, Opon, Urshifu, but instead of that, I just came up with a different call of Karate, Terrapagos, Opon, Fluttermane. I mean, no, it was they had Fluttermane, the other team also. And then instead of using, I think they had Ogapon, Fire, and Iron Hands. I kind of switched it to more of a sun mode with Incineroar and Raging Bolt, and then to cover for like Ho-Ohs and stuff, which is typically bad for Koraidon. I had the Ogapon Cornerstone. So
Right.
yeah, it's quite good. Also, another reason I added like Scale Shot is for Karak Shadow Focus Sash and Chempal Focus Sash, because in Regulation I, those are used much more frequently compared to Reg G. So you get a lot more value out of Click and Scale Shot compared to Flame Charge against those mons. And also my Koraidon set is much more bulky than you would suppose. I heard you, Brady, you're talking about how you didn't want it to be a Terror Hog, right? Well, I figured out a way where it can actually live Glacial Lance and Psychic from Calyrex Shadow and Calyrex Ice. So it means in those matchups, it doesn't actually have the Terror, which can
Oh,
allow Terrapagos to really sweep much better.
that is sick. So you're telling me your current spread is bulky enough to survive one of a Psychic or a Glacial Land, but you can survive. Are you talking
Yeah.
about Focus Sash? It's got to be Focus Sash, right? You're not talking like Life Orb.
No, I'm not talking about Life Orb, bro. That'd be cooked. I mean, if maybe you've got a Pine Shot on, but no,
Right.
that would not work.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
but against Focus Sash, which is the main set that I was scared of because you can't like one shot it with Flare Blitz. Yeah, against that, it's really good.
So, okay, now here's gonna be the exciting part. Now that we kind of understand your team, I'm gonna show your opponent's team, and I'm gonna pull up the
Mm,
framework. What we're gonna do is before we go into the analysis, we're going to come up with a hypothetical game plan we could have gone with, and then you know what you went with. I don't know what you went with, and then we're gonna break it down bit by bit to
right.
see if if you were good with that or if how it went and everything. The one thing I ask is try not to be very stuck on your previous thought process. This is review, so it's like now we want to find those errors in our gameplay and like we want to find
Mm.
the replay because it's like there might be some things like it's like maybe like your ego's protecting an opinion, for example. It's just like it's like, well, I did this because this felt tough, but then if you look at a replay, you're like, oh wait, actually I was low-key just like I got kind of emotional there. I
I
was
was
like
floundering around. Bro, you'll see me soon, bro. I was floundering around for like 5 turns in a row just doing nothing.
okay, that'll be so fun.
I
I
was just
love
doing
those.
nothing. I had to, like, position so weirdly because I was just in, like, the back foot the whole time, but
Side note,
I almost
I
came back.
love that term, by the way, the floundering. It's such a funny term. Like it's just like because it's like someone says it, and you know exactly what they mean. It's just like it's just certain words like are perfect for like the situation. That's so funny. Like so
No.
you just didn't get anything done for like 5 turns. Did your opponent
Bro, I
not
was just
punish you?
clicking protect and switching the whole time.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you. I
No, 'cause he kept
see.
on catching me. He kept on
Right.
catching me, and then I had to switch again to, like, try and position out of him, like, KOing that Pokemon after he caught it, which is so annoying, but
All right, so let's
anyway.
pull up
Yeah.
this the framework. So, guys, basically this now is going to be the framework. So if you are watching this video for the value of understanding how to approach team preview, this is the part. Maybe if I'm really good, I'll add like a timestamp saying this is the part, but I don't know if I'm that good. Anyways, but basically, so now what I'm going to work with you here, Oliver, is I'm going to paint with you the exact framework I typically use. So the first thing I always try to do in the first part of the framework, there's 4 parts to this. There's an optional fifth step, but there's really only 4 parts.
Wait, can I just
The
get a pencil real quick?
Yes, absolutely. I also took notes.
Just
I can
write
send
it
it to you at the
down.
end, but no, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
Write it
one
down.
sec.
Write it down. That's awesome, dude. Because if you write it down, that makes that muscle connection with the materials. That's good.
Alright, cool. I'm back.
Dope. All right. So you got the pencil.
Alright, cool, cool, cool.
All right.
Alright.
So the first step of this framework is the threat exchange. Now, there is always going to be a threat on your team and their team. Hence why, anyone can be anyone in this game. As long as you have a way to win, assuming it's not a genuine solvable loss where your opponent will always beat you, which is very, very uncommon. That's exceptionally uncommon. That's like one in every 1,000 games, maybe. Like you'll go, because even then, there's always crits and stuff that can happen. But point is, you want to find the biggest threat on their team. Now, usually this will be 1 to 3 Pokemon. If it's a really good matchup, they might only have 1 threat. If it's a neutral matchup, they might only have 2, and if it's a bad matchup, they'll have 3+ threats. Because it is a double battle, so we want to try to get them into like kind of 2 threats for your team. So, first thing, I would identify their threat. So, really quickly before we go and there's a second part where we have to identify our threat to their team, and this is a part of the same step, but we're gonna start out with their team. So let's look at their team and your team. So I'm gonna try to pull these up side by side. Oh, this is gonna be difficult because they're 2 different parts. But you remember your team. It's the
Mm,
Trapagos, Ensign, Koraidon, Fluttermane, Ogerpon, and Raging Bolt.
yeah.
And then your opponent's team is the Zamazenta, Chinpao, Calyrex, Ensign, Ogerpon, and Raging Bolt. So what would you say are 1 to 3 of their biggest threats from their team to your team?
Looking at it, I see Rage Bolt and Chimpao as like pretty big threats because they both have like Sucker Punch and Thunderclap, which can really pressure my Fluttermane, and I guess they also have CSR and Zama. So those are the main threats. I guess Incineroar. I don't know threats in a defensive way, or do they always have to be offensive? Because when I
Uh,
think of threats, I'm really thinking of like what can carry my
yeah.
Pokemon. When you're looking at Incineroar into my team, it's got a lot of like pressure with Intimidate and Fake Out. So I don't know.
So yeah, good
Does that
question.
work?
So threats, defensive or offensive? It's not a question of defense or offense. It's a question of pressure. What applies the most pressure onto your team? Is it the ability to switch an instant? Then in which case that is a threat because it can constantly apply pressure to you without being punished. So I don't know if you have a way to hit it for super
Mm.
effective. I mean, you do. You have collision course. You can
I
kind
have
of
collision
spank it really
course.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, so that's not really that, but they can still intimidate you, which is kind of annoying. So point is, yeah, I would try to like look at all their threats. So first threat in my head to you is Zamazenta because this applies pressure to your Trapagos and it can wide guard on the
And
Terra
Koraidon,
Snowstorm.
because I'm slower.
Oh, you're slower than it. Wait, then is Zama?
Because I'm so, like, bro, I'm so bulky. Because since I have Scale
Oh,
Shot and Icy
whoa.
Wind and stuff like that, I really didn't think I needed to be faster. Because, like, it's not that bad. But since I was slower, like, I don't know.
No, I would
It
say
became
number one threat, bro. It's that Zamazenta. That guy is going to like. I'm looking at this like he kills Trapagos, kills Ensign. He's faster than Crydon. Apparently, he can kill Fluttermane. He can kill Ogrepon. This thing you have to go for a few different trades and do. You have to volt. You don't have a Thunderbolt. It's like that is the biggest threat in my opinion on the team. So that is public enemy number one. I think in team preview I'd assess that.
right.
Yeah, I'd assess
I
that.
see.
So that's the biggest threat. Number one, Zamazenta. And you mentioned you were afraid of Raging Bolt and Chinpao, but not Shadow Rider. You said Shadow Rider, you kind of mentioned it briefly because you're like, yeah, I mean, Shadow
So the
Rider, of
reason
course.
I've already thought about my game plan because I've already played the set, right?
Of
The
course.
game plan included me, pressuring Calyrex Shadow to Terra Water with, like, Knockoff or Snarl from Raging Bolt, and then just, like, Thunderclap it. I mean, or, like, Shadow Ball from a Fluttermane. I think it was, like, Shadow Ball, Knockoff to pressure Terra Water, and then just Thunderclap in the back, or, like, Terra Starstorm, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not so bad once you get the Terra Force, and then if they Terra the Calyrex Shadow, they can't Terra the Zamazenta. So I feel like it'd be kind of a wasted slot in a way.
Right, I got you. So you were basically trying to, your game plan was to force a Terra, basically all ending on the fact you think they're going to leech Kali Shadow, snarl it down, assuming no,
Mm.
this guy, assuming, because for what
'Cause
it's worth,
he's
you didn't mention this guy once, that he was a threat. So you're not really focused on the,
no, he's a Ogerpon, like, normal. He's not like the fire variant,
right,
so
right, right.
it's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
it's
this
a lot
one.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you
No,
mentioned he's not a threat though. Oh, I will admit though, for your snarl game plan, that could be a threat because he could switch on a snarl and suddenly you're
true,
like,
true, true.
oh shoot. But
But he's still
that
not
being
doing
said,
that much damage. I swear, because I've got Raging Ball Ride on Instant, but he's still not doing that much damage.
right, and his
It's
only
always
stab is
resistant.
Bullet Seed, in which case you resist both the bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's
There's, like,
actually a
no
very
way
good
he wins
assessment.
that, bro. Yeah.
Right? True. Okay, cool. So basically, yeah. So you that's a good deduction. So you were able to deduce how you can kind of break this down bit by bit. So yeah, first thing I would think about, I would need to make sure I have two checks for Zamazenta in team preview. Two ways to deal with it. Like this is a huge part of team preview, by the way. This is a bit of a. I'll get into this more in the system, but I always try to have two checks for every Pokemon on their team, every relevant Pokemon to the matchup on their team. So, for example, Zamazenta, this would mean bringing Crydon plus, if you're a Terraghost Wisp Instant, playing to a Terraghost Wisp Instant, which you are not, you're Flare Blitz, you're Terragrass. But basically, that kind of logic, you want to have like two checks into it. So I'd go like Crydon plus Raging Bolt, or I'd go Crydon plus, if I lower its speed to Icy Wind, then I can Earth Power. It's like I come up with like that kind of system where it's like, okay, what is this
Mm.
thing's checkmate? Okay, if it's at -1 speed, then I can get into Earth Power range. That's a great way to get it and pinned. And
I
if they
think
Terra, boom. And yeah.
yeah, yeah. If they Terra, like, the Dragon, right, my idea is, like, 2 if I was gonna do this, like, using your thought process, it'd be, like, Fluttermane Koraidon, because you force the Terra with Koraidon, and then you or, like, with Flareblitz from Instant, or you force one of the Terras with Koraidon Instant, and then you can go for, like, Moonblast with Fluttermane, or, like, Draco from
Yes.
Raging Bolt, so I do have a bit into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like pretty much what you just did right there. That's the main thing, is trying to set up like those like zingers, I guess. Like those like 1-2
Things.
punches. Like it's like you try to set up like a bait and a cash in. Like it's like what I always try to do is come up, and Tropicos is great at this, by the way. If you master this, Tropicos is the restricted to learn this with. It taught me so much about punishing Terras. My general game plan with Tropicos is force a Terra in the early game, lead with the most offensive pressuring unit, this thing that just forces a Terra, and then go into Tropicos
Mm.
mid game and punish it. Or you go for the Calm Mind setup if you can get away with that. But
Yeah.
that's not every
I
game.
actually did that into Wolfie in the Victory Row tournament. I just, like, brought Zash into his Koraidon team, and then just instantly switched it into, like, Terrapagos and caught his Terra. So,
Oh, that's so
yeah.
sick. That's so cool.
It was
Yeah.
4 AM, so then I fumbled.
Yeah. It'd be like that, bro.
Yeah,
It
Victory
really
Row is
do.
bad in Australia.
Oh yeah, you guys are up at like freaking like till like 6 in the morning, aren't you?
Same as Japan, man. We're having it rough
Oh.
out here, but you gotta get the practice if you wanna win worlds.
Right. But yeah, so yeah, basically, yeah, step one, the basic thing is it's a threat exchange. So the biggest threats on this team I would note would be Zamazenta. And let's break this down bit by bit. So Chin Pao, you mentioned Chin Pao and Bolt being a threat. So what are our answers into Chin Pao and Bolt? Immediately Fluttermane is that gives so much value to both those. So that would be an
Mm,
insta bring. Fluttermane plus a check into Zamazenta is where my head would be going in team preview. Yeah, that's the
that's
first
real.
thing. And then, yeah, so I try to have like two checks for everything you think their biggest threats are. So you said Zamazenta, Chin-Pao, Raging Bolt. So those three are the main threats you're kind of worried about. So if that's the case, I would focus on those guys, on breaking them, while covering for the other options. Because, technically, if they don't bring those three, that's good for us, right? Because then they're not going with their most threatening pieces. Like that's awesome. But we always
Yeah,
want to
true.
prepare for the most threatening ones in case they do identify it, which
Mm.
9 times out of 10 in a tournament they will identify it. So you gotta be ready for it. But yeah, once you identify that, their threat, which is Zamzenta, Chin Pao, and Raging Bolt, I would do a quick assessment on your threats. And by the way, this happens within like 30 seconds, 45 seconds of thinking all this. This is like really quick on the fly. So you just do MVP, which is minimum viable product, whatever works. It's like just get the bare minimum down is pretty much like what I try to get with this. So now let's look at your team. What are your threats into his team? How can you do meaningful damage to break and create room to clean out a game? What is your best offensive pieces into his team? Or
I
most
mean,
proactive pieces, not offensive. We already talked about that. Most proactive pieces.
yeah, and Koraidon is like my and Fluttermane are my 2 win cons, I wanna say, because they just, like, demolish his team. Like, Scale Shot one-shots Chien-Pao, Collision Course, I reckon, does, like, a massive chunk to Zama if he doesn't Terra, and if he does Terra, then we got Fluttermane, and then if he Terras, Fluttermane's Moonblast is just hitting Chien-Pao, Raging Bolt. It's hitting, like, Shadow Ball into Karak's Shadow. It's also hitting, like, Moonblast into Terra, Zama. So, those are, like, the 2 biggest, like, main pieces, but
Good.
they're also, like, not very, bulky. Like, my Koraidon's pretty bulky, but my Fluttermane, like, it's very easy for him to just KO it, like I said before. So it's quite I
Right.
don't know. I don't know
So
how I'll have to position that correctly.
So it's a bad matchup because you're forced into volatility, basically. You're being forced to go for explosive trades. So we can deduce it's a pretty bad matchup based on that. Because typically, if it's a good matchup, you can go for like a safe kind of setup game plan. But if it's a bad one, you have to play like the go. You have to like snipe them every turn, basically.
Yeah, bro.
So yeah, I'd kind of
So,
like make a mental note of that. If it's a bad matchup, because
based on
that's the
that,
best thing you have. It's a bad matchup. Yeah.
would I not bring Terapagos? Because
Oh,
it's
good
like, I
question.
have to go hard. I don't think
Are,
I have enough because it's too passive, right?
are you modest or bold?
I'm bold. I probably should be
Ah,
modest, to be
yeah. Oh,
fair.
on this team, yeah, go modest. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you
modest,
don't
yeah.
you don't really have the best calm mind setup cycle because you don't have like a grassy
No.
train, you don't have a Moongus, you don't have
You actually get,
consistent
like, Meteor
regeneration.
Beam, Cover
Oh,
Cloak no, I don't know.
that sounds kind of cool. That could be worth testing. Yeah, meteor beam seems kind of cool. Because what
Meteor
I
Beam
like
seems fun.
about like a modest Terapagos on this kind of build is it's like you can bring it without having to tear it because single target Starstorm is a real consistent
Which
source of
specs?
damage.
Well,
That could work.
what about specs? Imagine wait, hear me out. So I'm cooking right now.
Okay,
We'll
cooking.
get back to it soon.
Got it.
What about, like, choice specs to Ravagos Hyper Beam, and then we put, like, Raw on the and then we can, like, Raw Hyper Beam and then just, like, take something out and then bring in Koraidon? Oh, that's cooking. I need to my bad.
Well, okay, take note of that. That's a great example. That's what this kind of replay review
Yeah.
can kind of like enable us to think about. But the main thing I wanted you to highlight is your threat exchange is primarily going to be by the means of Crydon Fluttermane, and his threat exchange is going to be from Zamazenta plus Chin Pao slash Raging Bolt. So
Mm.
the combination of those three are going to be annoying. So I would, if I was in Team Preview, I would hypothesize a way where I could position Crydon Fluttermane. Is it best to lead with them, or is it best to have them in the back? Is it best to lead with one and then, for example, an Ogerpon plus Fluttermane, position the board, let Ogerpon go down, then get
Oh,
in
yeah.
Crydon? It's like that's another thing. It's like you have
Yeah.
to think about your sequencing. How are you going to sequence your way to get Crydon Fluttermane? Because you deduced Crydon Fluttermane is how you can win this game. That's the board you want. Do you want it as an opener or do you want it as a closer? Do you want it as a mid game piece? You have to figure that kind of stuff out. Which one would be the most effective angle of approach? That's the kind of stuff you got to think about, and that's part two in the system. Is basically once you get the
How
threat
do you have enough
exchange.
time for that, though? Like,
Oh, you,
to
you
figure
start
it
you
out
start
if
getting
it's an
better at
opener
it.
or
You get better at it.
closer.
It's
Like, wouldn't you have to think through, like, all the turns and then just, like,
no.
deduce it from that?
So
That's what I
okay,
try to do.
this is what I would do. Instead of thinking of the turn, think of turn one. Turn one is all you got to think about. Because the game can go a
Really?
million different ways. Yeah, yeah. I think of turn one, turn two. That's the only thing I think of.
Maybe that's
Uh,
why I'm struggling, bro. I'll be, like, spending, like, 1 lead, like, all the time, getting to turn 5, and then I realize, "Shoot, I've only
right.
got, like"
Like your back, it's like you're like,
Yeah,
oh, I
bro.
can't close this out with my back. Yeah, I've done that so many times. I know. But this is what
Yeah.
prevents it. This is exactly the system that this
Okay,
helps
cool.
me a lot. Pretty much once you identify your biggest threat for their team, it's just a matter of sequencing. That's the only thing I have to think about. And theoretically, you could have solved the threat thing. The reason why it took us so long is because we're going back and forth and talking. But this is just a quick
Mm.
question you ask yourself: what's their biggest threat? Zamazenta, Koraidon, Raging Bolt. And you'll know it intuitively because you're good at the game. You know, that's just an intuitive piece you kind of develop.
Mm,
If you guys who are watching chat don't have that intuitive piece developed, you got to put in more reps to kind of get that. What I'm kind of describing is ideally this will work, you know, as you get a better intuitive piece. But if you don't have that intuition developed, you can logic it out. Just look at their Pokemon and look, and you can mathematically go for it. So look at Zamazenta, think, okay, it's good into Trap Ghost, Incin, bad into Koraidon, so that's like +1 because I'm giving it +1 point to Trap Ghost, +1 point to Incin, -1 point to Koraidon. I'd say +1 to Fluttermane because it can heavy slam us, but it's focus. I'd say that's neutral, so that's +0. Raging Bolt, I'd say that's kind of in favor of Raging Bolt, honestly, because they have to go for, I think, 3 body press is what kills us, so we can go for a lot of damage into them. And then Ogerpon, definitely positive to Ogerpon. So
mm.
Zamazenta has +1 from Ogerpon, +1 from Trap Ghost, +1 from Incense, that's +3, -1 from Koraidon, that's +2, neutral from Fluttermane, and then I'd say neutral on Raging Bolt. So basically, we know for a fact Koraidon's +2, so that's so much value from them. They're gonna be bringing that for certain. So we can, and you can do this on the fly, dude. That's a quick little. But ideally, you have your intuition trained up, so you don't have to do those mathematical, you know, calculations like the value calculation on the
Yeah.
fly. But if you don't know it, you can do that. That's an example. But that'll cut into your time. Like you said, you only have so much time for this. Um, but all this happens in the span of like a minute. Like this is like it's
Mm.
really quick. I
It's
put a
just
lot
like
of thought into
muscle
it.
memory.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. Once you start training, once you start flexing the muscle, it'll come more naturally. But you just got to know the framework to
Yeah.
think in, and then you can think in the framework much more effectively in the future. Yeah, once you get the threat exchange done, then it just comes down to what you expect them to lead, what kind of archetype they're playing, how you expect their team to unfold. So this is step 2 in the framework. Once you understand your threat and their threat, then try to think about the turn 1. What is their most oppressive lead they could possibly go with? What's the combination you are literally fearing? Because this is a kind of bad matchup. So you probably are fearing a specific thing. So let's break it down because it's a 2v2. It's a, well, 4v4 technically, but 2v2 on the board. So what combination of Pokemon specifically are you most afraid of?
I mean, like, Champow is just dashing out, like, so much damage, bro. Like, I don't know how to, like I think I'm just because 'cause I'm Terra Grass on Insane for, like, Amoonguss. Maybe I shouldn't even be that. Now, this is just, like, after looking, but, because you can just go Ice Crash Body Press, and then I just don't have a good way to use Insane, so maybe I don't even bring Insane, which is kinda weird. But, I think what was the question again? Sorry, I got lost in the train of thought.
What is the most oppressive combination Pokemon you're afraid of from
Right.
your opponent?
Right. I guess, like, that's kinda hard because there's so many options, like, this is why I get stumped because 'cause I'm like, you could lead, like, Insane Bolt to, like, pressure, like, E-Webs to slow me down, and, like, fake out, like, Fine Shot Raw, put me in a bad position, and then bring, like, Chien-Pao Zama in the end game, or you could just, like, lead Chien-Pao Zama up front and then go, like, Karak Shadow, Raging Ball in the back and try to sweep me. It's so difficult. I actually don't know. Like, if I'm just looking at, like if I'm going really simple, it's just, like, Zama Chien-Pao, like,
So
yeah.
Zamachin Pow is simple. So like the layer 1, the thing you're most afraid of, just from a layer 1, just a very basic, is just a board of Zamachin Pow. But you're thinking layer
Yeah.
2, well, what if they expect me to counter Zamachin Pow and they go with Instant Raging Bolt and have Zamachin Pow in the back? So that's where you kind of get like a little bit
Yeah.
analysis paralysis almost. You're like, oh my goodness, they could do this or this. You can't quite figure out which one to go with. You kind of just guess.
Even go, like, Kayak Shadow, yeah, I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay, so like what I'd say to that is basically what you want to do is find like the most oppressive one and think with that in mind. So if it's Chinpao Zamazenta, that's your anchoring piece. That's the anchoring thread. You then keep and don't get lost in the sauce. Remember, that's what you're putting
How do
your
you
focus
figure it
on.
out, though? Like,
Well, I
based
mean,
on, like,
it's based
what's
on
their
like
biggest threat?
vibes,
Like,
matchup
is it just
experience.
what can carry most Pokemon?
Yeah, so if you play this
What?
matchup in prep, if you actually play your team for, because ideally for regionals, right? Like you don't just go into regionals without prepping at all, right? Like you probably did matchup
Bro,
spreads, right?
bro.
Oh no.
This is just a me thing, though. I went to Worlds with, like, a team that I had, like, 2 days before.
How'd you do?
I got top 16, but that's, like, just I had no, okay, hear me out. It was a team that I had 2 days before, but I had, like, the main, like, 3, 4 Pokemon
There you
the
go.
whole
Okay.
season, so it
So
didn't really matter.
so it wasn't really a new team. It was just trying
It wasn't
like
a new team,
3 to
so
2 extra Pokemon that you haven't quite tried yet, but you had the main core, which you're very comfortable with, which what was the core you were
I
working with?
see.
Was it Terapagos?
No, it's Karak Shadow, just, like, balance.
Oh, the
Yeah, but I added
Incineroar, Ogerpon, Raging Bolt stuff?
yeah, that stuff.
Gotcha. And what was the unique piece you added or pieces?
So I actually what was it? It was like I fully changed the characters because I went Dark Pulse instead. It was
Oh.
like a I had like a really big brain. Like my brain was just saying like telling me that Dark Pulse is the source and it's gonna do really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. But anyway,
Gotcha.
I'll go back
But
to it.
yeah, basically though, it's like you had experience of your matchup
Yeah.
somewhat ahead of time because you knew the 3 to 4 Pokemon that you were already kind of using the entire season. So you kind of know how those work. And the last two were just matchup specific mons based on a read for the world's specific metagame, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Then yeah, pretty much you kind of have the mental thought process already kind of done ahead of time. Like ideally, this is where it's like, if you expect what they're going to lead, this would come from experience. Like for example, if you're up against a Zamazenta, odds are you played a Zamazenta before with Trapagos, and odds are they're bringing that Zamazenta. It'd be really crazy if they didn't bring Zamazenta into a Trapagos matchup because in theory it's so good into it. You know, it's like 'cause you have wide guard and body press. Like
Mm.
that's like the hardest counter you can possibly get to this thing. But yeah, it's like so you can kind of the thing is try to find those levels of logic that even a kid could figure out. That's like just ones where like, you know, it's like the basic, the level 1. And as long as your opponent is proficient in at least understanding the basics, the fundamentals of Pokemon, they'll probably be able to identify that. So give them a little bit of credit, but don't give them enough credit to where you start to overthink and start, oh, okay, they'll go with Instant Rageable because
Oh,
they're expecting me to go with to counter their Zem's at Chin Pow. No,
yeah.
game 1, I would
That's
just
why I get
I'd
messed up.
cover for it. I'd cover for the basics. And then if they prove themselves as someone who's like a layer 2 player, like a layer 3 player, whenever I say layer, I mean like there's a basic philosophy behind the game. It's like a rock paper scissors kind of back and forth, where it's like you know, fire beats grass, beats water, beats fire. It kind of goes back and forth. Layer 1 is basically the basics, where it's like what's my safe play. Layer 2 is the what's the counterplay to the safe play, and layer 3 is the overread layer. So it's like the basic logic is safe play gets beat by counter safe play. Counter safe play gets beat by no respects overread play. So basically it's like your layer 1 is the basic play, layer 2 is the read for the basic play, layer 3 is the call that they're going to read it. You just go for the basic play again. So
Right.
it always goes back to that basic play. That's the anchoring, is like the basic play is I
Uh-huh.
got to switch out cuz I'm in check. But in level 2 is now are they going to expect me to switch out because they know I'm in check? And then that's where you have to play the opponent and figure out their personal profile, where they operate, how they think, and you can figure that stuff out in the fly. But in team preview, you don't know that yet. So you kind of got to cover for the. I always go layer 1 in team preview. I always operate
Right.
on layer 1 because I always try to cover my butt and just, I try to out fundamental people. And if they keep up with my fundamentals, then I start mixing up styles. That's basically the flow I go with. But so for team preview, what this translates to is whenever you are up against an archetype, you kind of expect how it will go. Like Zamazenta, Chenpao, you know they're probably going to be bringing those two. What I would do is that's your focal point. Just focus on beating Chenpao, Zamazenta, bring 2 checks into each of those guys. So probably bring like Incin for the Chenpao. Just an example, you know, but then again, Incin loses to Zamazenta because you're not Terra Ghost, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, you want to bring 2 checks for each one of these guys. It might be tough with Zama because you don't really have the best checks. All I know is you got to bring Crydon. You got to play Crydon like a
I feel
absolute G.
like I feel like I just gotta enable my mons that are good to them because I can't like. I feel like I just gotta play like I gotta have defensive pieces around, otherwise KO. You know what I mean? So I feel like I kind of have to bring Oakmon. No.
Yeah, I agree because I think Ogrepon is your enabling piece, and Ogrepon can enable you to get a position which you want, which could be a 1 HP Fluttermane in Sun next to Crydon, and you know they're in range of Flare Blitz or Scale Shot. That's like that's an ideal board totally. So yeah,
Mm.
that's absolutely something you might want to consider. You might want to think about whenever you're doing these. But yeah, basically it's like so like step 1 is just the threat exchange. You want to identify their threats. Step 2 like you want to identify your threats, their threats. Step 2 is just kind of your previous expectations in this match, how you kind of expect the game to kind of go down without actually playing it. This you got to make your first read because you're making like believe it or not, the first play you make is in team preview. Like people think it's in turn 1. No, team preview is the first play you actually make. That's the first input we get. Just give me 1 sec, get some water.
All good.
But yeah, basically, so your team preview needs to be like very intentional. But yeah, after we figure out how we kind of expect it to go down, like you know, like so pretty much identify threats, step 1. Step 2, have your preconceived idea as to how the game will go based on experience. Step 3, start mapping it out. So you identified Zamazenta Chinpao is the biggest board that the opponent can go for. And you're right, they can lead with it, lead with Zamazenta Raging Bolt, maybe lead with Zamazenta Instant, get in Chinpao later. They can do a lot of different stuff. So I would think about how I can deconstruct that down to its very essence. So why is it annoying? It's probably annoying because Zamazenta threatens Trapagos. So we know we're probably not going to be leading with Trapagos because we'd get out pressured by sort of ruined body presses slash chin pow. So we know Trapagos either not going to be brought or it's going to be brought in the back. But we know Crydon is going to be a key player here. So now I'd be thinking of sequencing in step 3, basically. I'd be like, okay, so do I lead with Crydon? Do I keep it in the back? I know I'm going with Crydon Fluttermane. How do I sequence this? Do I try to lead with Ogrepon, like we mentioned earlier? Go for Follow Me, intentionally let Ogrepon go down so we can trade an Icy Wind, then get in Crydon? No, how do we do this? There's a million different ways to approach it. But the point is you got to find some way of offense. You got to find a footing. And this is this is a Pokemon skill, it's just like, I wish I could like teach this and like, basic understanding, but you already know this stuff. Like you already know you got to be proactive. You can't just like click buttons and expect them to
Mm.
work. It's like, basically
I'm
like
constantly
you got to
thinking
find a
in my
footing.
opponent's head, like, no matter what, I'm in my like, I think, like, 20% of, like, the play, and then, like, 80% of my opponent's head just to, like, figure out what they're most likely to do. Not that I'm going for reads, like, most of the time I go for play, but I just really wanna understand everything.
Right.
Just
So you try
understand,
to like
yeah.
get in their head in the play basically is like kind of what you're saying. It's like
Yeah,
you try to
and then try and
deconstruct them.
understand their play, like, right after that, just to, like, and I just try and make, like, a full, like, analysis on, like, how they're playing and their thought process. So it's an interesting
Gotcha.
way to play the game. Sorry, went a bit of a tangent.
Yeah, so let's take a brief step back. So now we're gonna start mapping out the leads. So now that we kind of know what we know, they're probably gonna be going Zamazenta, Chinpao, Raging Bull.
Mm,
Those three are the heavy hitters. How do you think we can come up with a cohesive game plan? Now, this is a really tough matchup. This is a tough challenge. It's possible, but what do you think our best game plan could be to maybe approach this? I thought of the Ogerpon Fluttermane, but technically Shadow Rider could be led,
mm.
and it's a mind game because if you go for Icy Wind, and if they
Yeah,
go for Wide
that's
Guard,
what I was
then
scared of.
boom.
Like, when I'm thinking of bringing Oakmon, it's just so scary, right? Like, I know that it's a valuable piece, but a lot this is what happens to me in team building that I like team preview that I'm really like I get to sequencing and I figure out that like Oakmon's so hard to position, man. Because you got like Zama that outs not I think it might outspeed it, right? It might. And then you got Chempao that outspeeds it. It's not doing that much until Rage Ball gets intimidated by Incineroar, it gets KO'd by like Carrick Shadow. But it also gives so much value with Follow Me from like Sucker Punch for Fluttermane. I just don't really know what to do with it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Bring
Yeah,
it.
that's a piece. It's like if you feel like you can. This is where in team preview, if you feel like the piece of follow me, if you can figure out what to do with it, like a cohesive way to incorporate it into a strategy, that's where you bring it. But if you can't, that's where you're kind of limiting yourself, and you maybe won't see it as an option. For what it's worth, the follow me thing,
I feel
I just brought that
like
up
if
as an
you're
option. It's not like the guaranteed solution. That's all.
like Brady, since you don't have like time to really think of the whole game plan, right? Like every turn by turn, right? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? In team preview. If you think there's a slight chance that like a mon is good, do you ever just bring it game one, figure it out? Like
Yeah, no,
if
that's the
that's the
time
right
to bring it.
piece?
For
Okay.
what it's worth, technically we should be doing that like ahead before the tournament. Ideally, we don't go for the vibe
Yeah,
check
yeah,
during
I
the
know, I
tournament,
know.
but
But you're always gonna come against teams you just don't know what to do against because like
yeah, like if you
people
do
build weird
play
stuff.
something where you don't know what to do against, yeah, totally, dude. Like I would absolutely, I'd run the vibe check, just see if it fits. It's like, but just make sure it's
I
intentional.
see.
That's it. Is like don't like. The
Alright.
hardest part is a lot of people in like dual restricted, they get in their head where they're like they always have to bring both restricteds. At least newer players do, and
Mm,
it's I just want to like nip that out of the bud. And double restricted, it might be better to bring a matchup specific Pokemon and then all in on one restricted because that one restricted might have a better matchup. In which case, it's Koraidon here. Koraidon definitely has a better matchup than
mm,
Trapagos. So Trapagos might be on the bench. It's like only thing we know we're bringing is Koraidon Fluttermane. Now, how do we sequence Koraidon Fluttermane? That's the only thing we got to think of. If does the Ogerpunk Cornerstone work, and what does it not work against? Do you have to sell one of your lead matchups in exchange? In which case, it might be a team issue. It's like maybe it's a genuine team issue. We got to figure this out in the builder, and we just got to do our best with the tools we currently
mm,
have and acknowledge the tough matchup, but figure out a way we can win. The Ogerpon Cornerstone is that one would work, but that would probably get a game. Not that would not be a consistent way to win the set because they could adjust to that very easily. But yeah, my game
mm.
one would probably be either Fluttermane Ogerpon with Koraidon on the back, or it would just be Fluttermane Koraidon with probably Raging Bull and maybe Incin in the back. But because if you're not leading with
Yeah.
Ogerpon's really tough to bring, I think.
Why don't you leave it into? Is it just too? I guess it is too passive.
Yeah.
So they just like double into it. Yeah, I see. Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
in my opinion, it's good into the Chin Power, right? It's good into the
Right.
Calyrex, but it's just like it's just really tough because like number one, the Raging Bull is going to out trade us because we can't really touch it. In return, we can maybe knock off its AV, which could be
Uh,
helpful. Number two, Body Press is just going to check us, especially with Sort of Ruin, which is the thing we're most worried for.
yeah.
So I'm just worried, like, if we were to lead it, let's just say they weren't to go for Terragos on Chin Power to fake it out turn one, they could just double protect, and then boom, next turn they just body press us, and we don't really have a defensive switch besides Fluttermane. But if we have Fluttermane on
That's
the
true.
board, we can't really do that. But you could do that with Fluttermane, in the back, but then you're risking a Fluttermane swap on, maybe they could punish it with a heavy slam.
Yeah,
But
ice will crash.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's just
Oh,
it's just stuff you got to think about. But no, this is a tough
okay.
matchup. This is really, really
Do you wanna go to
tough.
the match? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. So
Cool.
but really quickly, let's quickly try to so let's just say if we were to approach it again, what do you think your game one plan would be? Maybe not based on what you did, or
Um,
if you do want to tell me what you did, but just do it based on everything we just talked about now.
I should basically because it's so different, man. Like I fumbled the bag. I realized. But no, if I was gonna do it again, I don't want Karatan to be intimidated straight up. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna put Karatan in the back. That makes sense to me. And then I think I would gone Fluttermane Ogbon or Fluttermane Raging Bolt with either Karatan Instant in the back, like Karatan Raging Bolt in the back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I think that works. That's what I do.
Okay, got it. So wait, so I just want to confirm. You said
So like
Fluttermane
Fluttermane
lead.
Ogbon lead or Fluttermane Raging Bolt lead.
Got it. So
And
Fluttermane
then
plus X. Crydon back.
yeah, and then maybe like a game 2, you bring like Fluttermane in the back, just for like switches into body
Right.
press. But yeah.
Yeah, dude, what you just did right there. You're already thinking about game 2. So you're thinking you just thought of a cohesive game plan and then you just evolved it. And you're like, okay, cool. Well, this could work, give me a game, but because it's a bad matchup, I have to adjust in game 2. So what's my adjustment? You're already thinking of stuff like that. That's exactly what you got to think about, especially in bad matchups. Bad matchups are really tough to navigate through. But yeah,
You're always gonna be thinking about like the next games because you gotta win 2, bro. You can't just win 1.
That's true.
It's so hard.
So you went with Ensign Fluttermane. You're up against Ensign
This is the lead that
and
we said not to lead. But
Raging
it turned
Bolt.
out alright because he led it Instant Raging Bolt.
Yeah, that's actually that's not bad. So
I kind of caught him. But
the layer 1, I think, is we could fake out their Ensign and Moonblast into Raging Bolt and get just a free trade. Now, we would lose our Focus Sash on Fluttermane, but we have Speed Booster in the back. Could be kind of annoying because Sucker Punch. We'd have to keep Intimidate alive to make sure we don't get Intimidate. Basically, if we're going to lose our Focus Sash, we have to make sure we're not in Sucker Punch range for the rest of the game because we assume it's going to be Chin Pao Zamazenta on the back based on what we assessed, right? So let's think about this. Let's see what you did turn 1.
Yeah, so both
yeah.
players here leading their.
Hold up, sorry. Turn it down.
We got Henry on the back.
That's Henry. There you go. 1.5.
Like,
There you go.
I'm already thinking like they're gonna expect me to fake out, right? And they don't want to take trades, so they're probably gonna like just based off of it.
You switch out.
And then I don't want to like take the trade, like because I don't have Overpon on the back. Like if I had have led the right mons, you know what I'm saying? I bring these mons and then I realize they're just like really hard to use. And I realize my Terapagos isn't doing much in this matchup. So if I'm going to use Terapagos, I got to get value out of it now before he puts Samo on the board.
Right. That's Zemo, isn't it? Ah, well, he parting shot at
like,
the right slot, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, not. Whoa, you got cooked. Oh my goodness. And there's the board we were afraid of, right, Chin Pao?
If I set this board up, because turn 1 I'm cooling the Electric Terror on the Rage Ball, and he's just going to try and break my Focus Sash, right, on the Fluttermane, because that makes sense, right? You're gonna try and break the Focus Sash. So I'm going to cool that. I'm going to knock off the Raging Bolt to knock off AV, then switching Trap Ghost and like Carmine Pine Shot the next turn. He just called me so hard. It's really rough. It's really rough.
Okay, so this turn 1 is what I would have thought about in team preview. Like, what? Keep in mind, if we would have led more intentionally instead of going with the vibe check, we could have just like had a game 1 plan instead of just you said floundering or just to say, I'm gonna switch in Trapagos here right now just because like and that was such a bad turn 1. I mean, it's not over, it's like it's not, but
Yeah,
dang,
but
this position is tough to get out of.
It's tough. No, I realized it's tough. Like I can think pretty far quickly, and I was like doing the Moonblast trades of like Fluttermane, even like when he switches into Zama, I just realized that like if he just clicks Pine Shot and I fake out his instant even, and he just goes into Zama, I still have no pressure because he can just body press the instant, and then it's like switching to like Pine Shot into Champ, I'm just cooked. So I have to get in my Trapagos now.
Right.
But
that makes sense. See, okay, I'm just wondering if like turn 1, if we could have like maybe have gone for like a
Moonblast.
Yeah, Moonblast. Just because it's like even if Zama
It
comes in, it
switches
loses
into
a
Zama.
third. Yeah, it loses a third though, because it's fighting type as well. It's fighting and steel. It'd take about a third of his HP. And then like
Yeah, true.
if we were to Terra Fairy Moonblast, that would be a hyper punish because then you
Oh
take
wait,
like
I'm dumb, bro.
what happened?
This is that was a mess up on my thought process because I forgot if he terrors the Raging Bolt, then you can't terror the Zama. That's just my bad.
Right.
That's stream though. That's stream. That's what I'm talking about. I'm always fumbling on stream.
That was the whole game plan, by the way. Remember what we were talking about from the very beginning? Is it's like, okay, we gotta force
I
the
had this game
Zamazenta.
plan to the start, bro. I was in stream and I'm like, damn, people are watching me.
Okay. So
No, like I
basically
played
you
better
just gave
next
up your
game.
game plan. You gave up your game plan from turn 1. Like you had a somewhat idea of what you're doing, and you just gave it up basically. Okay.
On my phone. It's my bad.
How
I
did you
played
get-
better after like.
Is there any way, like, is this over? Like, can you just like tell me right now? Like,
No. Like I'm pretty good at finding lines. I
Okay.
found a line that works.
Is it
But
switched
like
to
it
Flutter
was
Calm Mind? What do you do?
crazy. No. So he's going to bring Champ out here, right?
Yeah.
And he's thinking he's gonna like Icicle Crash body press.
Double tap the
But then
inside.
I know I'm on the back foot here, right? So like I'm expecting he knows that I know that he knows that.
Right.
Which is
Okay.
like pretty bad. I probably shouldn't even think of it. I probably should just be going for the basic play. Because right now I'm just thinking about like fake out Terra Star Song because he's either going to double protect
Wait, what? Wait,
or
wait.
he's going to double me. Oh no, I can't fake out him. My bad.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do that. I think it was just a stream lagging because I was trying to click a different move.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't
yeah,
worry.
swap the Flutter Calm Mind, right? Or, protect, okay.
I went
See,
for protect because I was trying to cool him going for body press ice crash, but I don't think that's the right play.
dude, this is such a... Okay, so you're behind right now, right? You gotta,
Yeah.
like, what exactly were you trying to read with this turn? Because you have to make a... You're forced to make a read because you got caught with your pants down after that. So how are you... What is your read you're trying to make here?
The read I was trying to make is he doubles into trap goes. I don't think it's the right play because if I'm thinking about his thought process, like right now my brain is just pressure, right? Because I know I'm floundering around, and if I hadn't been like under pressure, I would have realized that he's just gonna. The trap goes isn't a threat here, right? It's
Yep.
not a threat. You don't need to carry trap goes. You'd rather carry the instant so we can't fake out your AV Raging Bolt in the back because that
Yeah.
just makes sense. So they're gonna double. Like it's also can't protect the instance. It's just such a free icicle crash body press, which is my bad. So I should have just gone for like what Terra Starstorm or Calm Mind.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say either Calm Mind and switch to Flutter Mane, which that would have been good because you guaranteed survive this attack. Body press presumably gonna come out. Like I assumed it was gonna be a double tap on the instant because he knows you are Terra Grass, so there's no like you're
Yeah.
gonna lose instant or you have to switch out.
Mm.
So yeah, like I would definitely have tried to have cheesed a Calm Mind here. Protect's a little passive. Let's see.
Too passive, yeah. I agree.
You got
My
double
bad.
tapped, right?
Yeah, you just went for body press.
Yeah, now you can't protect this turn. Oh man, you got like hyper right.
Bro, it's so bad. Like game one, I was fumbling until like the end. Like I locked in. You know, like sometimes you're on stream and you realize like, crap, what am I doing? And then you start to lock in.
Yeah.
This turn I wasn't locked in yet. So this time, like, he knows I'm going to protect, right? It's just so obvious. And then trying to get like instant or Karai in. That makes sense, right? So
Right.
like I'm going to call that he's going to double into my first, so I don't break his sash and Champao. But he just goes for suck punch. He's up in the game. He can play safe though. So I'm not locked in yet.
Right.
I should just realize you can play safe. This is what I'm saying, bro. I don't know how to play on stream.
40%, 30.
I need something like to play on stream.
Oh, dude, if you would have gotten off one last turn, you could have actually killed Chin Pao.
I would have been good. Yeah, that's my bad. The next games are better though. This
Yeah,
game I
you
was like, sounds terrible, bro.
So what's the
I
thought
haven't been
process?
on here for pressure. I can't play passive with instant.
Yeah,
I
that's what I
realized
was
like
thinking.
this. I'm just
If
thinking through the turns.
If Vincent gets in, then you just double protects, and then boom, you're exposed next turn.
Yeah,
Exact
it's
same
just,
plan.
it's just overflowing. Yeah,
We're slower than Zama too. Oh man, this is.
bro, it's just so bad. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the leads were too bad. None of my play wasn't that good either. But so I wanted to look over it. Here I know I have to get the speed boost right, and I think he might. I've switched into Incineroar and protect his ammo because there's no way you just leave his ammo open right now.
Right.
And if I could scale shot the ammo, it predicted in the Terra on it, just Terra like body press, but I don't think it's that bad if it does. So it's pretty safe just to go onto the Chempao slot.
Yeah, of course. Intimidate's going to come in. That's just safe play.
Yeah, he does go for the Zama. I was going to scale shot that. Like I really wanted to scale it shot it so bad, but I thought if he just protects and I don't get anything off that turn, I'm just dead lost at that point, right?
Right. I suppose this isn't really team preview, but this is more like playing theory. It's like if you're behind, you got to all in on something. You have to call a play. Is he protecting or not? You know, it's like you mid grinded there, like you skill shotted left slot, earth powered right slot. You know, it's like either you call him to switch to Instant and Terra Dragon, so you just double tap that slot, or you try to like.
I think what I should have done that turn is actually just switch in my own Instant for Terrapagos. Body presses. I just miss.
You know what you could have also
That
done?
one's
You could have Terra Stellar expecting to switch out and Terra as well. It's like this is such a very specific. You missed skill shots, so it didn't end up mattering. But like I think you
I
actually
Calm Mind. I
won.
think it's just the turns before. I was like wondering, you know,
if you got Calm Mind,
wasn't it?
and then if you hard called this Terra Dragon, which is, you know, you would have been basically screen peeking, but this is the kind of stuff where it's like you were so behind, you had to make a play. It's like you were just getting like.
If I called the switch out, yeah, you're right. If I went for scale shot plus Terra Stars on Terra, like that would have been game winning for sure.
Yeah, because it's like you could have called a choke. He should have body pressed into your Trapagos because you just protected last turn. It's pretty much a guaranteed kill, but he didn't do that. So we could have punished that. And then like, oh shoot, he just gave us the game. It's like that's a potential identification that don't expect your opponent to always play perfectly. You know, it's like expect them to make a mistake because that's how you catch them. Yeah,
that's fair. No, this game one I was just like
switch out protect. Yeah, makes sense.
Just terrible. No, yeah, because I was thinking like, what mon does he want to go for? And I got this turn right, but I missed another scale shot after, so that just sealed it. My instant lives his body press also, which is interesting.
Sweet. Okay, so you switched an instant protected. You got that one. Oh, he roared you. Okay, so that's how Carding got back in. So now you technically do have skill shot, but you can also protect. But see, it's kind of interesting. But technically, yeah, body press is guaranteed on the right slot. Yeah. Oh, and Koridon. I was thinking you could. Yeah. I guess it is safe because you don't have a Calm Mind, so you're not really doing anything.
No,
Yeah.
because I feel like he doesn't want me to just scale shot the Sammer. But
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't know, I probably should have just scale shot.
yeah, I definitely would have, because like you're behind. Like you can't
Yeah,
keep going
bro.
for these defensive plays when you're behind. Like you got to make a gambit. Like
No,
I see what you mean about stream. Like yeah, you were playing very very afraid in the set. Like you're like, oh
very
shoot, I gotta
timid.
switch protect, and your
Yeah,
opponent was like, all right, I'm just gonna keep going for damage, and they just won every trade. This is just game 1. Yeah, no, this is over. We lost too much
it's
HP.
over. Like, that's what I'm saying, like, game 1 was not it.
All right, so
Game
Jack
2, I'm
Roth.
thinking though, like, game 1, I started thinking just right after, and I realized, what am I doing?
Right.
So I've been the right lead. I went Flutter Rage. And
So
I think
just
into, like, the lead that he led this time, like, Instant Ranger Bolt's much better. And also gives me some lines into, like, Zamar, because I just get more chip into it if you ever lose it.
right. Are you fast on this raging bolt or
He-
slow?
Fast.
All right, because I was wondering if we could Moonblast and Draco into the left slot. Because if you
Yeah, that's what
face
I'm thinking. That's what you saw my buttons. I was just clicking that way. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe he switches and I can ice wind off, but no, there's no reason. So just like volt switch, thunderclap.
Right, I got you. Special attack drop. Oh, that did so much. Nice.
It was good, yeah.
So
It's
now
just
we
E-word,
can.
which is fair.
Yeah, I mean, presumably
Creamy,
he's going to
it's like,
double tap
puts it in
Flutter
sucker punch
Mane.
range. It puts it in like sucker punch and maybe like terror. The crit's annoying, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Here, I don't want like him to do too much more damage to Flutter Mane.
Right. So yeah, this
But I
makes
guess I
sense.
just moon blasted.
Oh yeah, you totally could have. But then you could lose Flutter Mane material. So I get switching
Yeah.
out.
So
like-
because you could just knock off it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So this turn, I'm
exactly.
thinking I can't switch in Koridon. I have to switch in Instant because if he goes Draco, me, I switch in Koridon, I give him the boost. So what I have to do is Volt Switch. I switch in Instant, then Volt Switch, and then I get both Instant Koridon in a way that's like better for me. Yeah. And since he's Electro Webbed, like I'm slower now, so I can go for the Volt Switch more safely.
Oh, Andy Blue's
Koridon.
Terra. Nice. Trying electric
Andy Blue's
Thunderclap. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's why I wanted to
got
switch
this.
to
Good
Flutter
job.
Mane, just in case. If he goes with Draco,
Oof.
we live. Knock
Thank
off, nice.
goodness he
Caught
didn't
him.
double tap you. Holy cow.
No, that wouldn't have been too bad though, because I still got the free switch.
True.
Crit helps also.
Yeah, it does.
It's not that big of a deal though, because I'm just like collision coursing it later anyway.
Right.
One thing that I actually didn't notice, because I was looking at his team sheet at this point, his pro synthesis turns to defense. It's really interesting. Because here I'm just like,
No,
it's a free
it's because he
scale shot
Dracoed. He
into-
Dracoed you. He Dracoed you. Yeah.
he Dracoed, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So I'm thinking if he switches, I'm thinking he's probably gonna switch his Raging Bolt. So I should probably fake out the instant, right? Just so he like doesn't pine shot me, which is fair. But
You could also parting shot, expect him to switch out.
yeah, I think I should have pine shot that turn. That would have been better for me.
Right.
But still fine. Yeah, that's fair.
Should still kill. Oh, it actually won't kill him, will it? Let's get 5.
No, we get 5
3.
hits. Our luck came back after missing 2 scale shots. Which is good.
Okay, you locked back in. I got you. Okay, that defense got kind of scary. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, this game was kind of wild.
So now we.
That's why you need a bad matchup.
You did a good thing. You got Flutter Mane in the back, so you can technically switch in on a body press on the instant.
Yeah, on a body
so you can
press.
threaten that. That's awesome.
I think I made like a bit of a misplay. Like, I was threatening it for sure, but I think I should have switched Flutter Mane in this turn instead of Terra Grass. I was thinking of going just Terra Grass Flare Blitz. But I think I just overthought it a bit.
No, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't mind this, and like,
I wanted him like his heavy slam not to do as much. I don't know.
The reason why okay, so I get how it gets punished, but just because I'm expecting like a body press to come into the Koridon, presumably because he wants to kill you because you're -1 defense because the scale shot. He probably wants to abuse that.
Also, should have pine shot the instant. That's my bad.
That could have worked too.
Because like pine shot the Zama doesn't do much here, just because it's got body press. But I was thinking like about different stuff at that point, not who should I pine shot, because it wasn't like that impactful.
Right.
I don't think.
Yeah, Terra Grass. Dang, this
It's
is
a bit rough.
tough.
I think I should have just gone to Flutter. Because I'm going to Flutter now anyway. So I kind of just like wasted that.
Right. Yeah, and then we could have saved our
Yeah.
Terra Fairy so we could live this sucker punch as well. But you can also intimidate him, which is
Oh,
cool.
Terra Stella.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. It's fine.
Question is, do we Icy Win now to outspeed him for the rest of
Do
the
we
game?
Ice Win? Yeah, we got the Ice Win pressure. I understand that. Like we got Ice Win, collision cost pressure, and we're pretty bulky. We've kind of showed we're bulky right on. So
I'm gonna switch to Insane, yeah. So
you kind of had to kill like Flutter Mane. It's kind of rough for him here, right?
Oh, okay. So
So-
you're switching out of
So I'm
Flutter.
thinking of just switching and then like collision cost right, because that's pretty safe. But then I'm like, what if he? Then I wanted to go for protect because what if he
Oh, he
just
timed
like,
out.
reads me? I timed out. I wanted to protect into the Flutter Mane, but I guess I should have just switched. I think I liked my old play more.
Yeah.
To be fair, I still called him right. He went for heavy slam, but we also got the burn here, which is pretty funny. I don't think it mattered that much either way, because I would have gone for the collision course, and then I would have just done more damage and would have 2-shot. But
Okay, now you just switch to Insane. You just go for Moonblast onto something, right? You either go for the Zema or the.
Yeah. So the reason my brain was going very quick there, the reason I protected there is because I don't think I needed to go for the call, but with with Instant, since it's like Terra Grass, I want to like just get heavy slammed right because I've already taken a lot of damage from Champ Out. I also wanted to stall my fake out, switch him by like 1, just so I can
Good.
get like
material.
I think he had Raging Ball in the back or something. Was it Raging Ball?
This was good. This was good proactive
Oh,
play.
you already-
This I see you,
Yeah.
you got your brain together in this set. That's really good. Oh, that does nothing. Nice.
Oh yeah. No, then we just like made the safe plays.
Yeah, you just double protect, right? And then you switch to instant next turn. And yeah.
So I don't think I played perfectly, but it's like the first game I've ever played with the team. I just had like bubbles for a guy,
Right.
so I wasn't playing like
Raging Bolt
should've.
protect. Yeah, that's smart. To
Yeah.
stall out burn.
It's just still up there, yeah.
Yeah, and then next turn you can fake out the Chin
I can just
Pow
stack out,
collision
stack it.
course. Yeah, good thinking.
He makes a good play. He just doubles the Karada for the Raging Ball switch.
I think now we just got Thunderclap the Zema and switch to Instant. Just kind of stall the burn one more turn, and then he's dead. So yeah. I mean, that
I'm
was
starting
a
to
good
get
play.
my brain here slowly.
Nice.
But man, my lead game 3 wasn't that good either. I was just like weighing me a bit down. Yeah, because then you just do this, and you just dies to burn.
Nice.
I think I kind of gave him a bit of an opening here though, because if he kills both, I think I still win. Because I just
Oh,
got
yeah,
a
no,
scale
you-
shot. I think
Yeah, dude, you definitely win. This is over. Cause oh wait, no, it's bro.
I got
if he-
live, but like
If he does kill both, he could ice crash your Karidon next turn, and then man, if he crits you, he'd have to crit a sucker punch because he's -1. But yeah,
my idea was this is really funny because he's already terrored. I was thinking I could just go fake out scale shot my own Insin, but I'm like, nah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
yeah, not at all.
Yeah, if I
I don't
somehow
think
fonder it, if I somehow like, I'm not fond of it, like if I somehow throw it, it's just not gonna. I don't want to do that,
Yeah.
so I don't go for it. I just go knock it. It's just so safe.
Yeah, technically isn't
Technically,
collision course better here because you can't miss that, and he can't tear it either.
I can miss, yeah. I expected him to like protect though, because I know like I win. You know what I mean?
Right, I got you. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Also, I wanted to see if like scale shot one shot it. That was the reason, but I just went
Should
for
we-
knockoff here. Knockoff's smart because you don't like die to flowblitz.
Should we have a parting shot? Do you
It is
think so? We
well,
could fake out
nice
next
one.
turn, or maybe not.
No, you don't. Do
Oh
that.
yeah, because
It
now
makes
you can
sense.
flare blitz. Now you can flare blitz. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you don't flowblitz. Yeah,
Yeah, flare blitz moonblast pins him. Nice. Yeah, that was actually a really
Yeah,
good
so we-
identification.
yeah, we got this game.
Nice. Yeah, he has to crit a sucker punch, and then he does to flare blitz. So you got him in a mate. Good job. Yeah, that was
It was
okay.
alright.
So let's just take what we learned from game 1 and game 2. How would you approach game 3? Actually, did kill us. That's funny. So
If
how
I
would
if
you?
I
Yeah, how would you?
if I was
approach that?
level-headed right now, I would have realized that he's gained a lot of sucker punch pressure on my Flutter main, which is the main reason. The main reason like just throwing Flutter main out there, just clicking Moonblast like turn 1 against him, is
Right.
because I'm worried that he gets too much damage, dies sucker punch of that late game, and that'll just ruin my game plan, right? Because of that, I think I should have just brought Ogerpon as a mix-up for game 3, because he hasn't seen me bring Ogerpon yet, right? So I feel like Ogerpon in the back would have been much better. And also my Raging Bolt that game didn't really do much, right? It did get a Volt Switch off. It did take a Draco. But other than that, it didn't really do as much. I think I could have just switched the Raging Bolt for an Ogerpon. And then instead of terroring my Insyn, because Insyn was living, I think I should terror my Flutter main or terror my Karadon.
Right. Also, side note, Urshifu would be really good in this team, I think, because it could really help with this specific
Like
matchup.
Urshifu Dark?
Nah, I was thinking Urshifu Rapid Strikes, because keep in mind, he has Insyn
you can turn off
and
stun.
Chenpao. Right. I guess, like, shoot, dang, that kind of, yeah, I forgot about the
That's
whole
a weird
Sun
one.
thing. Just because, like, it's
Yeah,
just,
'cause
I'm
you can
looking at
turn-
this
you can
matchup,
turn off
right? Like, 'cause it's just, like, it really helps into Insyn and Chenpao
You
in
know-
particular.
You know what would be cool? You know what would
What?
be really cool? This is actually like a really interesting idea. I'm happy you mentioned like Urshifu, because if you went like Scarf Urshifu or something like that instead of like a Raging Bolt, because I don't know, Raging Bolt's like, fine, but it's not that good. You could
Right.
like coaching. You could go coaching like Urshifu Choice
that sounds
Scarf. You could
cool,
coaching your really bulky Karidon, get +1, scale shot everything, and then like clean up. And then you also got like the mode with Trap Ghost Urshifu. So I actually really like that. It's
That's
really interesting.
awesome because you actually come out at the end of the turn with the Dragon Dance essentially, because you nullify the defense,
I know.
neutralize that.
Yeah,
That's
you
really
get
cool.
speed, defense, plus. Yeah, it's really sick actually.
Yeah, definitely try that. That's
It
really
is
cool.
double fighting. It is double fighting. I don't know.
Right. I mean, then again, like, what are we mostly worried about for like fairy types in particular? I suppose Fluttermane's the only real meta relevant fairy type. Yeah, we don't have a fairy resist besides our Terrifier, Karidon, so that's. But then again, Raging Bolt's already weak to fairy as well. Anyways, let's break down this. Okay, so you went with Instant Flutter this game. So back to your game 1 lead. What was the thought process that?
Yeah,
put
well, I
you
got
to
Raging Bolt this time because I realized Trap Ghost is ass.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
good. Yeah.
So, wait, you had
But-
Raging Bolt and Flutter game 1, or was that game 2? Is that game 2? with Raging Bolt Flutter?
Game 2, I had Raging Bolt Flutter.
Okay, and in game 1,
Yeah.
you went with Instant plus.
Game 1, I
Karidon?
this is the same lead, but it's got different back. So
Got it. Okay, so you just
and I also
basically
thought I played
replaced.
game 1 poorly. Like I realized I played game 1 really poorly, so I thought I could just same lead and then just play better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. So he went with
Um,
Instant
I,
Zema.
I, I, I don't think he's going to protect it, right? Because he does protect it, but if I get a switch there, I think it's so bad for him. So I just went for the fake out just in case, because he doesn't actually take that much damage from Moonblast. Like even if I double it, because he still gets a pine shot. It's a bit of a weird play from him, but it's whatever. It's what
Yeah,
I
he doesn't get the sash.
basically expected.
Now body press can just pin the left slot for the rest of the game, I think, unless you
Yeah, that's why I
Terra,
didn't like.
but-
I don't like lead Instant here, like because I didn't want to switch Instant because I don't want to take a body press right on that slot. So it's just a lead. I shouldn't have led Instant when I look at it.
Yeah, you either swap to Raging Bolt, you gotta sack something in the left slot. I'd say let him take the Rocky Helmet. Like
Instant.
I'd say do that probably.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I did that.
Nice. Question is, do we want to Icy
thought
Wind or do we
Float
want to
would be
Moonblast here?
Icy Wind, because Icy Wind is better, no?
Probably, yeah.
But I missed.
Okay.
Oh. Well, I missed one of them. I hit one of them.
Oh, okay. The
Chempal's
Chimpao.
the most important one, and I missed Chempal.
Yeah,
So that's really unfortunate, but
yeah, it was a pin. Okay, so
yeah. I think I should
Yeah.
have put Flutterman in the back, because Flutterman, like, pressures the body press to not, like, body press, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I just got more man games with my opponent that way. If I'm leading Flutter, it's kind of weird.
agreed.
Unless I have, like, Ergopon. But yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like
Maybe even,
Ogre
like,
Flutter could be the
Raging Bolt.
only thing we could have gone with in game 3. That's the only adjustment I can think of.
Yeah. Or even Ergopon, like, Karadon, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, just because I just don't want to get -1 because he was leading Ensign, so I'd rather like let Ogrepon go down up against an exposed Ensign and then punish him. So I was thinking.
It'd be interesting to maybe even go, like, Annihilate on this team.
Oh, that could
Just
be
like-
sick, actually. Yeah, you can have the coaching thing you were talking about. Yeah,
That's actually kind of cool. Because you don't also have anti-synergy with Sun then.
sure.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, let's see. So you Terra Fire to stop the Icicle Crash. Now the question is, do you get double tapped on what? Because he's getting a KO this turn. You're reading
No,
his
because
game
he's scared of me collision course in Moonblasting. So I'm like, I'm just going to still at least protect. And even
Gotcha.
if he doesn't, like, I still get collision course. So it's whatever.
Right.
He's just a sucker. So I made the right play. Just safe.
Right. And now he's kind of
No,
pressured to
just-
switch into Incense. You're going to call it?
Yeah, just double click. No, I think it's just collision course. Moonblast, just fair. Because
Yeah. Because the only way we can live this if you switch into Instant from the Chinpao, yeah.
I could have gone, like, I think a better play in hindsight would have been collision course and power Moonblast. Because he's already pressured to Terra, right?
Right.
Out of collision course.
No, this was really good. This you set up a really good trade here. That was a great trade. He's going to take like 90% of his current HP. He'll be at like he'll probably
Yeah.
survive this, right? Because you're -1. Oh, we'll
Mhm.
see. Because you're minus where are you -2? Him or minus
Minus
one?
one. Minus one. You just live.
Oof.
He gets a crit. Like that crit like hurt the game so much. Like
Yeah. Well, can't you just collision course that
Yeah.
guy and moonblast the left slot? But he's going to protect,
what I
or
did.
he's going to fake out, and then he's going to let Zema go down, get a free switch and a chin pow, and we're back at the same situation.
No, I made a really smart play here. No, I made a really smart play, and then to make the right play. So like, can you pause the video just so I can go
Yeah.
thought process? So I'm pretty good. Like I'm locked in by now, right? And
Right.
I realize if he gets Chempao in, then my Futterman's like back on like sucker punch range, and then I lose like to body press and like with Raging Bolt in the back. Like that's not good. I don't want to kill the Zama here at the moment. Well, I'm in the instant. I don't want to kill the instant and just let Zama protect and get Chempao back.
Yeah.
So and then I'm like, he's probably gonna pine shot the Karadon because he can sucker punch the Fluttermane, right? To me that makes sense, and he can or he might knock off the Karadon. So and like protect knock off Karadon. So I go for a protect on the Karadon, and then to not kill the Zama or the Incineroar, I go for Moonblast into the Incineroar, which is really smart. But the problem is, he actually misclicks. He told me this after the game. He misclicked Pine Shot into the Fluttermane instead of the Karadon.
Oh.
And then he gets back into like Chempao anyway. But
Okay, wait. But like, genuine question. Why didn't we collision course into the Instant and Moonblast into the Zamazenta? What was the punish for that play?
because the next turn he goes into Chempao, and then he can click Sucker Punch plus Body Press. And if we switch and then kill the Zama, then he brings in Rage Bolt, and he's got double like clap Sucker Punch pressure on us. And it's like basically impossible to play around because he's still got Instant in the back.
But I don't know, because like that's the thing is like he wouldn't have Instant in the back because like right, we collision course, kill the Instant, and we Moonblast into the left slot. Either he loses Focus Sash, or he already lost Focus Sash. So he can't switch. to Jim Brady. So basically, it's like we kill his Instant, Moonblast the Zamazenta, and it's like either we get a double knockout if he lets us get it, or he protects Zamazenta, goes into Chin Pow, in which case we keep our Focus Sash intact. And that's the main reason why I want to do that, because we can keep our Focus Sash, and then we can Moonblast him next turn to get a guaranteed kill. We could switch out a Crydon to Incin to intimidate his Chin Pow and Moonblast the Zamazenta. Or if he lets Zamazenta go down, if he fakes out the Crydon, he has
Do you have
Incin
Focus Sash?
plus second. Yeah, no, his Sash
Do you
is already done. Wait, no,
On
no.
Chempao.
Oh, wait.
No, he missed.
Yeah,
That's why my
you're
thought
right.
process was like that.
I see.
Because I was scared.
Yeah, we missed.
No, I
you're
think
right.
he missed. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. So, were you afraid of him switching in the Chin Pow from the
Yeah,
right
yeah,
slot?
yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
But I don't know
It's hard.
because it's like
I don't
if
know.
he.
It's weird. It's such a weird. It's weird.
Oh shoot! I just skipped ahead way too much. Whoops.
So I think I'm in the right play here.
Yeah, so
He
he
goes in
pardoned
Raging
Shoten.
Bolt, which is fair. And here he's got a Lecture Web, and to me it just makes so much sense that he's going to click at Lecture Web, right? And I know my Raging Bolt's faster, so I'm thinking I just go Icy Wind, switch, and Raging Bolt, and then I don't take much damage. He's like -1. I kill the Zama, and we're kind of fine because we can just switch out the Flutterman late game, right? But there's no way. And then the Zama's lived on 1.
I
But
mean,
then that's just like,
for what it's worth, I thought it was gonna live, bro. Cause like, like
really?
you're
Minus
-2
2.
special attack. Yeah, and it's a Zamazenta.
Oh, I thought like it's super effective. What?
No. That is such a weak. Okay, so Icy Wind is based. What is it? 55?
What?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
see
no,
this.
it's 55. That's 110 when it's super effective.
No.
It
50.
goes
It's a
back.
spread move times 0.75 because it's a spread move.
Whoa!
Yes, and then yeah. So
Wait,
that
no,
was
but it still kills, right? How
no.
much health was he on?
Dude,
What?
he was at an 8th. There's no way that ever kills him from an 8th. What? There's 0 shot. Bro.
Really?
Yes, it's like that would never. That's okay. A little bit
That's
under.
red.
That's
How is it
at
late? No way,
-2.
super
That's a
effective move.
neutral
Bro,
attack.
there's no way a super
That is a
effective move.
neutral attack right
That-
there. That's neutral. It's a
It's
neutral
neutral.
attack you're hitting him with. There's no way it's a
Oh, I guess.
Samacenta. Oh man, that was
Damn
so
it.
tough. Okay.
He does have 140 special defense, to be fair. That's my
Yeah,
bad.
that's what I mean. It's like, and if he has any HP, which I presume he does, which like, but
He
we'll
does.
see.
He does. That's fair.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was probably a roll for what it's worth. I wouldn't risk it. I would have moonblasted
Recently,
that.
Electro Web. Like, go back. What was my better
Okay.
play? Like in hindsight.
So okay, he
Like,
Electro webbed.
how can I win this? Because
I
I missed the
probably
Icy
would've.
Wind. I think like missing the Icy Wind's so bad.
Mm.
Because I can't trade sashes with him. Like normally I can trade like a Moonblast and even punches on that. But since we both have sash, he always wins the sash wall. If that makes sense. Like he just goes a
Dude,
punch and I can't
I'm
win.
just thinking about this because I think you overread. This is the turn where the other line you went
This
down, I
Moonblast.
think, was a fallacy. Yeah, this turn was the misplay.
This turn.
Because if we
Yeah,
moonblasted it in
yeah.
collision course, even if he had swapped to Chin Pao, then he's in thunderclap range for the rest of the game. It's like, okay, cool. That's no
No, I was
longer a
thinking he goes
threat.
like fake out. Doesn't he? No, I was thinking like okay, hear me out.
He fakes
hear me
out this
This
guy.
is my actual progress. So he goes
Okay.
fake out Karadan, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said just sacks. He uses sacks. He wins in
Sacks, yeah.
Chen He's got
Mhm.
sash. He's got sash.
So do we.
He
We also
can,
have Sash.
yeah. He can go Sucker Punch plus knockoff onto the Fluttermane. I have to switch into like Rage Bot or something, right? And then the next turn, he's still got sash, right? He's still, and not sash, but he's still got like something online. And we're into Raging Bolt.
Wait, how much HP are you on instant?
I think I think our instant died, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it
Did
did.
it?
Yeah, it's
It
down.
died. Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, because we let it go down the early game. So if
If I
he-
hit the Icy Wind, I think I win. Like, because otherwise I would have just doubled.
Mm.
Because I couldn't win the sash trade. But
That's true. But I'm just thinking, like, if we were able to pick up a double knockout, obviously, I get what you're saying. You gave your opponent a bit too much respect. So we probably should like layered it down, like layer 1, basically, and just like, okay,
yeah,
like
true.
we just got to get material and just because. For what it's worth, your opponent showed in game 2, they even game 1, they show that they have a tendency to choke under pressure. So we could have just like, okay, I'm just gonna go for the trade material. I don't think they're gonna identify the Chin Pao thing. And it's like even like okay, if they had gone for that fake out, right? It's like you kill the Zamazenta, you still have Sash active on Fluttermane. It's not even over because they have to read you. It's like, do they double tap Fluttermane or do they like sucker punch Koraidon, in which case they don't lose Sash, in which case you have Bolt plus Fluttermane. I don't know.
I think this whole time I've been making like layer 2 plays. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And this whole time he's been making like layer 1, layer 2. So I think based on that, I should just start doing layer 1 plays and just make those obvious stuff and just start clicking buttons.
Yeah,
But
because it's like you had 2 knockouts right in
my
front of
bad.
you, and you just got in your head and like over, it's like gave your opponent too much credit. It's like, and in Pokemon, it's one of those games where you kind of gotta like not give your opponent respect because like if you give them too much respect, they're just gonna win because like you're gonna start playing really afraid. But it's like
no, in Brisbane, just quick story. Brisbane in my winning, I'm like my opponent can double because I've got Miraidon. He's got like I got Miraidon, and Miraidon's like really low because he can sucker punch it, right? And he's got Zama and Chempao, and his Zama's Terra Dragon. And I'm like, if he just double protects and then he can Wide Guard the next turn, then I just lose if I click Dazzling Gleam. So I'm gonna click Draco Meteor, but I miss the Draco Meteor, so then I lose, right? But he didn't Wide Guard because it's just so passive. So I think I should have just gone Dazzling Gleam, just not thought
right.
about it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. That's mostly like playing in theory. That's like less like team preview. But yeah, it's just like whenever it's like you kind of like something I'm working on right now for like because I'm trying to create an education program for PGC right now. It's in the works, but a big part of it is basically trying to get it down to like layer 1, 2, 3. If we can just like get plays down to that, it can like theoretically simplify the play. It's like, okay, am I up against a layer 1 player who focuses on fundamentals? Am I up against a layer 2 player who tends to overread or who tends to go for proactive plays? Or am I up against a layer 3 player who overreads and has shown that he's like kind of, I feel like where you
And
were
then
is that you operate like best in layer 2, 3. I think you need to work on your fundamentals and have more confidence in your fundamentals that you can actually
that's
out
true.
fundamental people, I think. Because I think your biggest thing you're going for is a lot of reads, which your reads are good. You know, it's like that's awesome to be in, but I think you want to well round out your
Like,
skill set by
it's
focusing on layer
weird.
1.
I think reads, right? I always think like what my opponent's gonna do, but I also try and like find the most safe play. Like you saw me like just because I was just thinking ahead a lot of turns and I was just trying to find like the line. But I guess like sometimes there is no line, and that's when you got to start clicking the actual buttons.
Yeah, especially in this matchup,
My bad.
because if we would have assessed in team preview that it was a
Yeah,
tough matchup, and you have to like, it's like that was your one shot to catch him. Like, yeah, if he outplays
I
it,
have
then
to play
yeah,
to
it
win. You're
loses.
right.
Yeah, you have to play to win. Exactly. We had one
You
shot
can't.
exactly in game 3 to win the game right then and there, and we didn't go for it. We didn't cash
Yeah.
in our
I
chips. We're
mean,
like, dang it.
I feel like I should have been taking notes on like when have I done well, and when I've been like doing really well in regionals, I've just been playing hard to win. In against Kieran Sai in top 8. I was like I missed 2 scale shots right game 3 in top 8, and I'm like it's so over. Then I'm like okay, there's like one play he can make to try and like guarantee the game, but I'm gonna catch him. So I Earth Power is Earth Power is Pelipper, and he switches in Archulidon, and I win the game off that. But like you gotta be playing to win, I guess. That's my bad.
Yeah.
I should have. Yeah.
It's just like okay, so how this all ties back to team preview is if you would have had the mental capacity in team preview to identify it's one of those matchups where it's going to come down to a volatile turn and then be ready for that turn to capitalize on it instead of just like waiting till it happens
True.
and then not cash in because you're afraid. You know, it's like if you can just figure that out, you would
Mm.
have known this was a tough matchup, and it's like okay, so I have to go for those game winning plays. I have to identify those lines and cash in on them and pray the opponent does not keep up with it, or I just call them to keep up with it. And I feel like you just kind of got in your head, like you set up a game winning play, and then you just like, oh, but what if he reads it, and like, and then you just got just like bozo,
Uh,
just like the tier 1. You're
no,
like,
I was just
oh.
like figuring out what turn I should do it on, and I was planning to do it the turn after that, but then like that's my bad. My bad.
I mean, it's hard, dude. Especially in retrospect, it's easy to
It's
sell
hard.
this, but in the moment, it's like you don't think of this stuff. It's really tough, you know. It's like, but that's how you
Uh,
become like, you know, like the absolute best is in the moment. You do think of that stuff, you know. It's like I know whenever I'm playing my best, whenever like I'm being very proactive with my team previews. Whereas whenever I'm playing my worst, whenever I'm kind of just guessing and just like plugging, like, oh, this might be good, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, because then I introduce volatility in my game plan because I was not coming up with something cohesive. Um, so basically, I'm just gonna like recap everything. Pretty much identify the threats on their team, identify threats in your team, expect some kind of exchange in value where you're going to trade with them, your threats for their threats, and just try to come out on top. In addition to that, combine your previous experience of the matchup. So, what have you normally gone in there? Does your normal game plan work, or do you have to adjust it? And then once you kind of figure that out, if you do have to adjust, how are you going to adjust? Map out your lead sequencing plus your follow up. Now, the only thing you should be thinking of is just turn 1. How is turn 1 going to play out? Because the rest of the game is going to be so volatile. Maybe turn 2 if it's kind of like a predictable match where you can kind of anticipate turn 1/2. Um, but
mm,
basically, it's like, you know, just try to lead with just a combination that forces your opponent's hand in some way, shape, or form, and then have a fallback. So a great example would be Ogre Pawn as an offensive lead plus Fluttermane, and then you have 2 ways to play it. You either overwhelm them with Ivy Cudgels if they go with the Raging Bolt lead plus the Ensign, you just double tap Ensign, get a kill on it, and just don't let them do anything. Or if they don't go with that, if they go with the Zems into Pow, then you just follow me, trade for an icy win, then get in Koraidon, and then try to sweep in the mid game after you trade the material. So that's kind of the mindset I'd probably try to approach that one with. Like, does that like make sense? That's pretty much it. Like you choose your back based on your lead, you choose your lead based on their team, and then you just it all comes from just identifying the anchoring piece on their team and the anchoring pieces on your team. Once you have those parts cohesively together, you should theoretically be able to come up with a game plan for pretty much any matchup, and that's it. Just find threats, deal with threats, come up with lead, and then you're back to complement your turn 1 on the lead. So don't leave yourself too open to one thing. Don't leave yourself too exposed to any lead in particular. Or if you are, come up with a fallback to where you can switch in. That's pretty much it.
Is there any like world where you ever think about adding variants? You know how we're talking about like the flutter main in the back and how that
Yeah.
adds variants to body press. Do you ever think about that in the lead?
Yes.
Or is
Oh my
that like
goodness. Yes. I would think of that in team preview. I'd think, okay, Well, if I have Flutter Mane in the back, like what's the pro and con of leading with Flutter Mane versus having the back? You know, it's like if you're playing back Flutter Mane, use it to its full potential. Switch it on a body press. That's why you're bringing it in the back, because otherwise you should be leading with it. If you're never going to switch
True.
on a body press, lead with the dang thing. You know.
Right. Okay.
I do think those volatile game plans have merit, but those are your kind of mix-up options. Don't lead with a volatile game plan to begin with. Try to come up with an offensive game plan, turn one, game one, and then that's going to be your anchor. Identify the anchor in game one, and then flow off the anchor based on how your opponent's reacting to it. Essentially,
Right. I see. I see. That makes sense. I guess what I've learned from this is just like not to over-respect your opponent, and then like just find the threats and beat them. Yeah. Because I find myself like overthinking so much. I think it's weird because you get like the stage where like you're really good because you're not overthinking because you don't really know much, but you know enough to like be good at the game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then you get to the point where like you know so much that you just start to overthink everything. Because I've played like so many good players that have just caught like the most random stuff. Like played Shohei once, and he just like heavy slammed my Insin, and then he just on my switching, and he just like my mon just died. I'm like, what? So now I'm always thinking about what my opponent does that, and I'm just like frozen.
Okay, keep in mind, Shohei's a world champion. You know, it's like if you're up against someone who has a previous profile attached to them, they have accolades of success, they're going to eventually, they have a career-defining moment in their Pokemon career where they have gone for a level 3 read like that. But if you're up against Jimbo McBob, round one of, like whatever, it's like, just like, don't expect them to be a top player. Just until they show you they are. It's like,
They probably,
operate layer one.
they probably wouldn't even like realize why I'm trying to do that and why it's so likely I'm going to do that. So
Exactly,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's pretty much it. Yeah, don't give respect to your opponent until they command it. Once they command respect, then you got to start like, okay, this guy has shown himself capable of making reads in the past, and it wasn't just a guess; it was an actual read. I could tell I got read. So now I know he's that kind of player that will go for reads. So now I just got to catch him whenever he overextends. Like, because every time your opponent's making a read, they're taking a risk. You just got to catch them on their risks if they're taking it. Because if you're getting read left and right, it can seem like you're like, what the heck? That was such a bad matchup. But realistically, they were just like reading you every turn. So, it's just like, maybe what this right here was a bad matchup because your opponent didn't go for many reads. I'm not going to lie. Like, I thought your opponent played like, all right. Game 3 was pretty cohesive in their game plan, except for that turn where they didn't protect because, but the point is, I would have identified in game 1 that's like, okay, this guy is beatable. He has a weakness, even though it's a tough matchup. I think I'm a better player, and you have to believe in yourself to be a better player to kind of beat them. And no disrespect to Jack Roth, I don't really know that person, I'm saying, but I'm just saying that's the kind of mentality you would need, just like he would need up against you to beat you. Is just like either his team's better than you or he's better than you, and find out what he's better at and just like all in on that. Because if you're not focusing on your strengths, your opponent's going to read your weaknesses very easily because they'll show much more apparent. Because if you're not highlighting strengths, then your weaknesses show.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
Perfect.
Makes sense.
Okay, so that's pretty much all I got. I don't take up much of your time. I'll give you the option. I could briefly talk about like stream. I have a coaching in like 11 minutes, so I got to get to that. But do you want to
Yep.
talk about like stream pressure? I can give you like a quick like little like rundown of that if that'd be valuable to you. Otherwise, if you can go to bed, you can totally do that. 'Cause I know it's like so late there now.
Yeah, I know. I'll get the most out of it, so may as well talk about a bit of stream pressure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. So talk with me along with the like video, YouTube, everyone is watching this. What exactly you mean by feeling pressure on stream? So how does playing on stream feel different from just playing in game?
I feel like you just feel pressure about like people are watching, right? And they expect something from you, and you're trying to give them what they expected or even like right. But when you're trying to exceed that, you're not thinking about winning the game, right? You're thinking about how can I show how good I am, not how can I should like just beat this guy. It's very different. So like I've been in a stream a few times, like side streams and like actual streams. Like at Worlds, I was on a side stream and I had like Marco Fierro and like Eric Rios watching my game because I had a friend playing against me. And instead of going for like the best, like I had a lead, I just whitewashed him game 1. Instead of just showing that like, oh yeah, I can just lead the same thing and beat him again, I tried to go for like really fancy stuff, but then I lost because of it. So I don't know. I gotta like change my mindset and just focus on the game more than anything else.
Did you feel like you got like fancier like because people are watching you and you subconsciously wanted to, or consciously wanted to impress them?
Yeah, I feel like when I was just playing like and just beating people, right, just like making the most obvious plays and still winning, isn't like you don't show anyone anything from doing that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
And then sometimes when I can't find like the most like the best way to just like show everyone I'm good, and it's like really hard to figure out like what to lead. I kind of get frozen from doing that. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay, I feel like you kind of already got the answer. I'm just gonna kind of retell you what you already kind of know. Just play for yourself, dude. Like, just play for yourself. Don't play for anyone else. You're not trying to improve. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying to play a game where at the end of the day you can go home and say, you know what, I played my dang best. And that's the goal. I do have a book recommendation. I'm going to briefly tell you about
Mm.
it. Something that I've personally read and has been a very big success to my Pokemon career. So it is called The Power of Letting Go by John Perkis. You can probably find a PDF online. I got the actual book, so I like to read it before I go to sleep sometimes. But basically, what this book really teaches is just how to let go of those thoughts that are kind of maybe like anxious thoughts or really oppressive ones that kind of get you out of your flow state, out of your game. And it just gives you kind of techniques and tools to kind of deal with those. So one of the techniques it gives you is basically a box breathing exercise, which pretty much what it is you inhale for about 4 seconds, and then or sorry, for about 8 seconds, then you hold your breath for 4 seconds at like maximum lung capacity, and then just slowly exhale for 8 seconds. Like you breathe in, count to eight, hold in your breath 4 seconds, and then breathe out, count to eight. And that basically kind of reminds your body that you're in control of your breathing. And, everything we do comes from our breath. So it's like if we're not breathing properly, we're going to be feeling anxious. That is just a grounding technique to kind of get you out of your head and more into your body so you can actually feel what you're, where you are right now, who you're up against, everything. I've used that at tournaments. I've done on stream a few times actually because it's like it's like it is kind of weird having all the eyes on you. But doing that has helped me pretty much get into like a certain like a flow state, which flow state is a whole nother topic for another day. But basically, it's the area where you want to be. It's called unconscious awareness, basically, or unconscious operating, basically, where unconscious consciousness is actually the term. But pretty much where it's like you're unconsciously really aware of what you're doing. That's where you kind of want to be. So you're not focused on like the executing of your game plan. You want to be focused on the individual mind games, like the what do I lead? Do I do this? And that's where your head wants to be, is like the mind game of it. And you trust in your fundamentals and you do that. But that can only come because whenever you're new, you got to be conscious aware of that, right? Like you got to think, oh, what's the best play? But if you're like a top player, you start to realize what the best play is in a matter of seconds. It's just a mind game as to if they do it or if they don't do it. That's the real inner game of Pokemon, in my opinion. It's that kind of back and forth. Like I know that they know, but do they know that I know, kind of thing. Just like we talked about earlier.
Mm.
So yeah, you want to be in there. So if you notice yourself not there for whatever reason, if it's the audience, I would focus on your breathing. And then one more thing which I do is called the Superman pose. So usually whenever I'm feeling like nervous, I notice it's because like my body language is suggesting to my body that I'm nervous. So what I'll do is I usually cross my legs whenever I'm nervous, or I'll cross my arms. I'll intentionally uncross my legs, ground myself to the ground, and I'll do a Superman pose, which is putting both my side arms to my hips, basically, kind of like Superman like stands like the sky with like that kind of pose. Like
Yeah.
yeah, that will like subconsciously tell your body that you're confident, and it'll start to produce more confident thoughts. It's like biohacking, basically. It's like because whenever I get nervous, I always do that, and it always works because it's like you do it and you're like, huh, it does work, and then you like you're asking yourself, does it work? And before like right as you even ask that question, you notice yourself feeling a bit more calm. You're like, oh, well, I guess it did. Okay, cool. Back to the game. And it's like it's really weird, but it's cool. So yeah, that's definitely a little hack I'd recommend for that. So I guess if you could recap kind of what I said, and then you maybe take it to the next level. Like if you have any more questions, now I'd like to kind of answer them.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yep. I'll have to read the book for sure. You do know a lot about the psychology. I do understand because I've already like tried to figure everything out myself. But yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So I'll just like briefly like recap. Yeah, definitely try reading the book. But like just the general place where you want to be. Because your mind can only focus on like five things at a time, 3 to 5. So if one of those things is trying to perform well for people on stream, that's taking up mental RAM, and you're doing yourself a disservice
Mm.
as a tournament competitor. And I just want to remind you that you are in control of your emotions. It might feel emotionally, very challenging, but at the end of the day, it's like we are in control of our emotions. So it's like if you like feel yourself in that moment, I just want to, think of that empowered thought where, okay, the way I'm feeling right now, I'm in control. I just have to regain it. I lost control for a sec. I just have to restance up, do what I gotta do, get back to business, and lock back in. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you today. So, thank you so much for your time today, Oliver. Do you want to shout out your YouTube really
Mhm.
quickly? Are you working any projects or anything you want to plug?
After Worlds, if I win, no, if I do all right, I'm gonna go. I know I'm not at the level that I need to be now, but I'm gonna go very, 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 very hard to try and win. So you have to see me at Worlds to see how I do. Yeah, hopefully we meet up there. That'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, dude. Perfect. All right, so we'll look
Yeah.
forward to Worlds. Definitely give him a subscribe on YouTube. Mario. Oh shoot, I already forgot the exact. I think is it literally just Mario, just spelt like that, and that's what the YouTube channel
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Got it.
That.
Okay. Mario, how he
Okay.
spelled it. Channel will be linked in the description. Give a follow, subscribe. If you do have any more videos, planned or anything, just let me know and I'll add it to the description so they
Nice.
can figure out. But that's all I got, guys. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you guys
All
in
right.
the next one. Peace out. Bye.